There's no denying it. Northwest Arkansas is growing, but who's building all these houses? What are they building? And is there going to be enough with all the many people that are moving to Northwest Arkansas, my friend? That's what we're going to discuss today, is all of those types of analytical details. So if you're not an analytical type, maybe this isn't the video for you, but Anthony's going to get quite nerdy when I go down into the details. My friend, if we haven't had a chance to meet yet, my name's Anthony Mosley. I'm a real estate broker right here in Northwest Arkansas, helping people just like you decide, is Northwest Arkansas going to be the best place for them to move to live for the foreseeable future? My friend, in this video, I'm going to look down in my notes quite a bit because this is very statistic heavy. When you're making a major decision like a home purchase, you might be interested to know about what all the numbers are doing. What's the likeliness of you being able to find that 3,000 square foot home, 4-bed, 3-bath, 3-car garage in the school district on the amount of acreage that you're looking for? So in no particular order, I'm building you an understanding and a case to understand what's going on here locally. The Northwest Arkansas Council says that according to statistics, we're seeing that there are 36 net people a day moving to Northwest Arkansas. That's Benton, Washington, and Madison counties. That's 13,140 people per year. I also looked at analytics, and it says that the average household size in Northwest Arkansas is 2.6 people. I'll do the math for you. You divide 13,140 divided by 2.6. That's 5,053 housing units that are needed each and every year. Now, what I don't have deep analytics into is the amount of apartment buildings that have been built and how many units each one of those have. But according to what I could find online, in 2023, there were 4,000 apartments that were added to Northwest Arkansas. And then 2024, according to that stat I found online, there were 10,000 apartment units added to Northwest Arkansas. Now, if that be the case, there's gonna certainly be plenty enough homes for everybody that's moving here. However, not everybody is looking for an apartment. Let me ask you a question on something maybe a little more frequent. You go to the car dealership and you're looking for a late model black car that is less than 15,000 miles. Well, there might be like 3 of them, but there's 20 that are white or yellow or green or something you don't necessarily want in regards to color or trim model or what have you. Everybody that's building homes here in Northwest Arkansas certainly have to factor in what are the types of homes that people are wanting to live in. The same Northwest Arkansas Council is also predicting that by the year 2050, there's going to be 1 million people here in Northwest Arkansas. Now, my friend, if you're doing the math, 36 net people a day between now and 2050, based off of a population of currently 590,000 people, that's not going to get us there. So if you were to do the math, now we're going to be closer to about 45 people a day, or around 16,400 people per year. Now, granted, it's not going to be the same every year. It's probably going to continue to rise, but not be the same average every year. Oh, sorry, we're full. We've already got the 16,400 this year. You can move in next year. That's not the case. So probably some type of growth curve that's going to continually increase. So here are the numbers in that regard. If we're at 45 people net per day, when you start hearing those numbers, 45 net people per day, we would need 6,307 housing units that year. When we get to 55 people a day, that's 7,700 housing units per year. And once we start getting to maybe 65 people net per day moving into Northwest Arkansas, that's around 23,725 people per year. That would mean we'd need 9,125 housing units. Again, if everybody's wanting apartments, we can do that probably fairly easy. However, I'm building all that to show you how many houses are being built in Northwest Arkansas. And of course, I'm going to break it down by who's building them. I'm also going to break it down by price point and also break it down by about how many are being built and are we tracking whatsoever. In a moment, I'll bring up a chart here that shows you how many new builds have been built, sold in Northwest Arkansas since 2014. You'll notice on this chart, I'll tell you right here and now, you'll notice on this chart, we have built more homes every year since 2014. Some years weren't as much, but every year was more than the previous year. 2014 was 1,045. 2017 was 1,528. 2020 was 2,277. 2024, 3,800 43. My friend, as I was coming up with this information, I actually only looked back the last 5 years. Then I thought, is there any more of this anomaly that I'm seeing right here? What can we predict? What can we anticipate going into 2025 for the amount of homes in new construction that we're going to see? Next, I'm going to bring up on top of each year the percentage growth. Now, again, every year has gone up, but the percentage growth, I found this very interesting. 2019 was a 14.6% year growth, year over year. 2020 was a 7.86, so it went down. Not as much, but it went down. Back in 2021, it went up to a 24.5% year over year growth in regards to new construction. In 2022, it went back down to 5.9%. 2023, what do you think is going to happen, my friends? It went back up to 20.2 in 2023. And then 2024, last year, we saw the growth only be at 6.5%. So showing that over time, my friend, I believe that 2025, we're going to see a maybe 18 to 20% new construction growth, not price point, but growth in the amount of new construction that's built in our marketplace. So as we mentioned earlier, 2025, I believe, is going to be an up year. And when we're averaging around 14% per year, I believe that average could very well be above the 2025 mark. Now, I don't have the math specifically, but I believe that would be more than 4,200 homes built in Northwest Arkansas in 2025. As far as new growth percentage year over year, as we're looking at the ups and downs of our market from 2014 all the way through 2024, Northwest Arkansas averages 14.6 more homes year over year than they did in new construction in the years past. Now you're probably asking, okay, Anthony, that's great. What does that mean to me? And who's building it? What's available in my price point? Glad you asked. Many of my clients, just like you, my friend, want to know, okay, there's new construction being built in Northwest Arkansas, but where are they built at? Bentonville, Rogers, Springdale, Fayetteville, Bella Vista, Pea Ridge, Gravette, Gentry? Where are these new construction homes being built? Well, my friend, here this next chart, it's going to be a little busy, but let me show it to you. Bring that up here. And what I want to do is I want to highlight a couple different line items for you. Now, this is very busy. Again, looking at Rogers, which is one of our bigger cities, you can see that over the last 5 years, they've really hovered around that 150, 200 mark in regards to new construction, 151, 200, 150, 239, 152, respectively. Same with Bentonville. Bentonville is growing, yes, absolutely, in one of the bigger numbers where they're building a lot of homes. But let me draw your attention to Bella Vista and Pea Ridge. I want to highlight both of those. Bella Vista, over the last 10 years. I did a video a couple months ago where I showed that the statistics for Bella Vista has increased every year. The amount of new construction has increased every year in Bella Vista since 2014. Just here in the last 5 years, you can see in 2020, there was 184 new builds and they went up, up, and up. And just last year in 2024, there were 433 new homes built in Bella Vista. And many people ask me, Anthony, who are the builders that are building in Bella Vista? It's a great question. We're definitely going to get to that.
But just to give them the opportunity to be patient.
For fun, you should know in Bella Vista 10 years ago, they built eight new homes were built in Bella Vista in 2014. Let's go ahead and look at Pea Ridge, another city that's growing by leaps and bounds. Over the last 5 years, 67 new build homes in 2020 to 199 to 166. So they went down in 2022, then popped back up in 23 with 241 homes. And then here in 2024, last year, 396 new homes in Pea Ridge. And for good measure, the town of Pea Ridge that saw 396 homes built last year, 2024, they had 83 that were built in 2014. So both towns very much growing. Tontitown, down off of 412, is another city that's growing, maybe nowhere near as fast, but still growth. Over the last 5 years, you had 4 new builds, 18, then 64, 77, 71. In my opinion, the Springdale Northern Bypass, aka 612, that's going to connect from Lowell all the way down to the west side of Tontitown, is going to bring much more ease of traffic flow. It'll be a benefit to many people that want to live in the Tontitown area, and hence we'll see a lot more growth there also. If I had to pick a sleeper city, one that's not growing right now, but has potential for dramatic growth because the Bella Vista bypass went in a couple years ago, because many of these other cities are getting built out and people are looking to spread out. Many people could be wanting to get away from the downtown area is the city of Gravette. Let's look at Gravette's growth chart for the last 5 years. 2020, they built 41 homes. There was a neighborhood that was built out there. One builder did a few homes. Then in 2021, dropped down to 11. 22 was 5. 23 was back up to 11. And 2024, there were 19 new homes built in the entire city of Gravette. Now, I don't know if there's a private home that was built by a builder, and many of these statistics, there might be those that don't get recorded in the MLS, but this is what I'm recording for you and I have access to. So I believe that Gravette is going to have some major upside in the next 10 to 15 years. As you're looking for homes, you might not be looking from 300,000 to $1.3 million. You might be looking 350 and below. You might be looking 351 to 700. You might be looking from 700 to $1 million. So I went ahead and broke that down for us to give us some understanding of this next section. If you're looking for 350 and below and you say, hey, Anthony, I want to know where are they building those homes? I went ahead and found the top 5 cities and the top 5 builders that are building in each of these categories. Here's a quick shot. If you're doing your research, here are a couple builders: Fitzgerald, Cox Development, D.R. Horton. There are certainly more builders. Let's go ahead and pop up. Here's our top 5 builders in the 0 to 350 range. Of the 3,843 new builds that happened in 2024, 1,754 of those are from 0 to $350,000. Here is the list of the top 5 builders who built the most in that price point. Is Roush Coleman at 654, D.R. Horton at 407, Huber Mitchell at 212, Brittenham Construction at 27. Coming in at number 5 is Multiple. There were many builders that were kind of next in line. Some were 9, some were 15, some were 14. But as far as the top 5, there are the top 5 builders that built the most homes in the 0 to 350 range. Now, where are they building them? Popping up this next screen, Fayetteville had 277 of those new builds. Siloam Springs had 267. Springdale had 193. Notice all 3 of those are in Washington County. Number 4 was Pea Ridge at 174 new builds in that price range. And Bella Vista at number 5 had 160 new builds in the 0 to 350 range. My friend, as you're watching this, most of my clients typically end up in this next range, maybe a little bit higher sometimes, in the 350 to 700 range. There were 1,804 new builds in that price point. Some of those builders are Cobblestone, Dreambuilt, Signature, Cornerstone, Black Pine, Huber Mitchell, Roth Homes, Lance Johnson Construction, Buffington are again just a few of the builders that are building in this price point. The top 5 builders who built the most in the 351 to 700 range are coming in at number 1 is D.R. Horton with 224. Huber Mitchell built 128 of those. Buffington built 99. Anderson Construction built 84. And Brittenham Construction built 70 of those homes in that price point. The towns in which the majority of those properties were built is Bentonville, coming in at 279 of those. Bella Vista at number 2 with 268. Fayetteville at 234, Centerton at 230, and Pea Ridge at 219 homes in the $351 to $700,000 price point. At the beginning, I told you this is going to be very analytical, and I'm not stopping now. There's a few more statistics and information to help round this out. The question at the beginning was, who's building it? Where are they building? Is there going to be enough? We kind of understand that if there's enough apartment buildings built, that maybe the folks that are looking for apartments, that will definitely be served. Now, when it comes to homes that are maybe over 3,000 square feet, how many of those are being built each year? Now, I noticed this as an interesting statistic because what I was looking at is over the last few years, who's growing the most? Is it Benton County or is it Washington County? Now, granted, we do need to loop in Madison, but again, if you've watched my channel, you know most of my statistics come from Benton and Washington counties. Not as much growth going on over in Madison. Maybe there's going to be some significant growth over in that direction. But before we do, let me jump into the 700 to $1 million price point. There was actually only 161 new builds in that price point in all of Northwest Arkansas. The builders who are building these $701 to $1 million homes are Buffington, Anderson, NWA Builders, Lance Johnson Construction, and D.R. Horton. The top 5 builders who built those 161 homes were Buffington at number 1, Lance Johnson Construction at 14, Payne at 13, GBS at 11, and Sewell Family at 11. The towns in which those homes were built were Bentonville at 84, Fayetteville at 19, Centerton at 16, Lowell at 11, and Rogers at 10. 4 out of the 5 of those are in Benton County. If you're maybe understanding already a little bit more, you know that there are more expensive, and I'll show you a little bit bigger homes being built in Benton County. For good measure, my friend, I also looked not just at apartment buildings or single family homes, I looked at duplexes, quadplexes, eightplexes to see if there was something maybe in that market segment that I'm missing. In the last 5 years, there were 372 units added in the multifamily space. So duplexes, triplexes, most of those were duplexes. Many people ask me, Anthony, where is it growing the most? Is it growing the most in Benton County? Is it growing the most in Washington County? So I wanted to answer that for you, for those specific folks that are wanting to know. I went back and looked the last 5 years. It was quite laborious just to do 5. I like to sometimes do 10 years, but just 5 is going to give us an understanding of our recent market as to what's happening. The quick short answer is Washington County has been averaging 16.28% growth year over year as far as many more new builds, and Benton County is only at 13.19% average growth year over year. As I was doing this, I found it very interesting to know that almost every year, the size of the home, both in Benton and Washington counties, had gone down almost every year from the previous year. You should know before we pop up the chart that Benton County has historically showed more expensive than Washington County. The red line is Benton County and the blue line is Washington County. In regards to square footage in Benton and Washington counties, looking here at Benton County, average home in 2020 was 2167 square feet. Washington County average home size was 1,960 square feet. Let's go ahead and fast forward to the next year. Benton County went down. Washington County went down. Let's look at 2022. Benton County went slightly up. Washington County went slightly up. 2023, Benton County went down again. Washington County went down again in size. 2024, Benton County went down in size and Washington County went down in size. So my friend, what I'm helping you understand here is not only are the homes getting smaller, they're getting more expensive, to the tune of about $8 to $12 a square foot. There's that number I love to hate. $8 to $10 a square foot year over year. Some years more, some years less. But either way, the houses are getting smaller, the prices are going up. In case you were wondering, the average lot size on all of these hovered right around 0.25 to 0.28. Both counties very similar. There was one house that was listed in Fayetteville that had 122 acres. It actually only had 0.12. Somehow there was a typo in there, so I took that skewed data out of there to help us get more accurate. Something else I noticed is Benton County typically builds a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom house, whereas Washington counties are building on average a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. Now, granted, you can still find a 5-bedroom home in Washington County and a 6-bedroom home in Benton County. So that's the next information. Not to belabor the point, but understanding the size of homes are going down, the price of homes are going up. I found it interesting to know this next fact about homes that are over 3,000 square feet. Let's look at how many of those are being built each year. You might not be interested in a home that large, but this helps round out your understanding of our market and what is being built. Now, this was super easy for me to see. I went back the last 10 years. So let's go ahead and pop up the last 10 years of new builds that sold in all of Northwest Arkansas from 2014 at 203 homes to 2024 at 213 homes. You would think with the amount of homes that are being built year in, year out, more and more homes, that they would build bigger homes also. That number would increase. To give you some more numbers, from the amount of new builds that we built in 2014, the amount of new builds we're building now, we're building 267% more homes than we built in 2014. When it comes to homes over 3,000 square feet, we've averaged 217 every year. So I guess what I'm finding out is the builders who are building new homes are finding that 2,800 to 3,000 square feet as the top end of home sizes that makes the most sense for them to build. If you're wanting to go higher than that, there's a couple spec builders that will do that. If you're wanting to go higher than that, there's certainly some custom builders that will go over 3,000 square feet also. All throughout this video, you may have heard me say D.R. Horton. D.R. Horton has been slated as America's #1 home builder. D.R. Horton builds more homes than KB Homes, Pulte Homes, Toll Brothers, many other national builders, including Lennar. You may be interested to know that Lennar Builders is making their way into Northwest Arkansas. They just bought out the residential business portion of Roush Coleman Homes that builds over 5,000 homes between Oklahoma, Texas, and Arkansas, to name a few. We've got 2 of America's biggest home builders here in Northwest Arkansas. That should tell you something, my friends. If you're looking to invest in Northwest Arkansas and looking to move here, the time is now. My friend, it's always a pleasure to put this information together for you, and thank you for sticking around all the way to the end. And now you know a little bit more about what life is like in and around Bentonville. Thanks for watching.